bet you can hear all my creaking, can't you? It's all gone creaky, creaky, crazy. Right, let me just get my get this down a little bit lower. Okay. Hello and welcome to day 2 of... Oh, crikey. Why did you... Hey everyone, welcome. Hi, it's Rob here. Today we're on the second day of our live Draw Rosie Day. And it's amazing to have you here. Should I carry on like that? Was that good? Was that lively enough? Or should it just be, hi, day 2, welcome. Today we're drawing Rosie. On today's picture, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing the lower part of her body. Or do you prefer something a little bit liver, a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more... I don't know. I mean, how do you decide what to do? And I think that's really quite a good question, actually, because how do you decide what to do when you're drawing? Do you draw the nose? Do you draw the ears? Do you draw the fur? Do you draw the shape? What do you do first? Well, and that really was the subject of yesterday's workshop, which is if you start off with that 5 principle of the fact that you've got 5 different layers. You've got the first one, which is 0, which is just the paper, and then we have our line drawing, and then the next one is our base color, which we would do, which we were doing yesterday, and we're going to continue, but we're going to go lower down onto the body, but there's a reason for that. And then we go to our next layers, which is the features, then our layers after that, so that's 3, then 4, which is your mid and sort of main details, then number 5, which is those fine wisps that looking at it and going, is this finished? Have I finished it yet? And you can add more, but that's kind of really it. So, where do we start? It's all about having a structure. It's all about knowing what you can do step by step. If I have a structure and I can follow this consistently, then I know I can get consistent results all the time. So that's what this is about. It's not about winging it. It's not about doing something, going, oh, well, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know whether I'm going to make it work. Is it going to be right? If you have a structure, this allows you to have confidence that you know that when you go into the next phase, step 2, 3, or 4, or 5, you know where you're at. You know that what you've done previously is the right stage. You've done the base layers, and they're not meant to look good. It's not meant to look amazing. It's not meant to look like the end portrait. So having a structure allows you to move forward in a way that gives you the confidence to be able to finish your portrait, finish your art, and go, I can start here and I can get to the end there. If we don't have a structure, it's kind of a, which way is the wind blowing? And that's what throws a lot of people out. So it's always good to start with going, where do I start first? And you can start in many different ways, as I did, as long as you have a structure. And that's what I'm doing on here as well. This 5 days has a structure. If I didn't have a structure for it, I would be going, well, now we're just doing something else and let's just make it up on the spot. And he's making it up on the spot. And you can see that we're just making it up on the spot. Yes, sure, how I'm talking is kind of making it up as a spot, but I'm working still inside a structure. And that's what works. So, welcome. Good evening, good morning, and good day to you wherever you are. And I see we've got Karen from Canada. Welcome from Canada. Wow. I love this. Don't you love this? People, all of you from different parts of the world, thrown together by this thing called technology, called the internet. And it still amazes me, day in, day out, that here we are chatting away, across the world. You're seeing me and I'm drawing, you're learning from something, and we've never met. And it's just amazing. Hi, Grandy Pandy. Hello, lovely to have you here. Free Pal, Di, Glenn. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. If it doesn't look like I can't read that, well, that's the reason why I'm kind of squinting to have a look. So amazing to have you here. Thank you so much. So I obviously want to address a few things. We've had been looking in through the framed group and seeing your pictures up there, and and commenting where, where we can, with time and things, and seeing obviously everybody else commenting as well, which is lovely, which is really, really nice. And thank you so much for doing that, on our part, because your art isn't art unless someone else views it. Other than that, it's just a personal experience. Yeah. When someone else sees your work, that's when they see you. Okay. So when you post it up on Framed, sorry, I call it Framed because that's what it used to be on the Pastel Pencil Week. When you post your art there, people are seeing you. They're seeing you, and they see you. And when they comment, please do comment on people's work. And I know you have been. And if you see someone that maybe hasn't had a comment, just pop, obviously don't do it as a platitude of, oh, well done, nice one, good job. Be genuine about it, because the reason why feedback is good is because when we feedback to other people, not criticism, I mean, like, see something that is good, you like, comment on it, say, I love the way you do that. It actually opens our senses up to notice things, rather than just going, oh, well, that's nice, that's pretty, that's lovely, which can be just kind of sometimes a little bit banal. So, offer some feedback, or some, something like, I really love the way that you've done the eyes, or I really love the colour you've chosen, or how soft that is. And I know that loads of you have been doing that. And I know sometimes, once we've done 20 of them, it's kind of like, really, do I have to do any more? Can I just say that's lovely? Will that do? And just offering you another way of being able to provide that sort of level back to each other, because it makes a difference. It says that we see you, we see your art, and they see us, and as a group we see each other, and we learn vicariously through others' experience, rather than just through our own. The learning that we do on here, with me talking and me showing you on here, this is only a small part of it. That's the techniques. The rest of it comes through your actions, and it comes through how you take this learning and you see other people's work and they comment and feedback on yours, and you go and you adjust something. It's just, this whole systemic, this whole system is very organic in how we learn stuff, and that's what makes a difference. If you've joined other kind of teachers before, other art teachers, and you're not getting this kind of feedback, it's quite stale, and it doesn't allow you that kind of learning environment where you get this supportive feedback as well. Because your art isn't just about drawing; it's about who we are inside. It's about where we've come from, what it is that we're trying to express, through ourselves. Whether you want to go down that, the real arty kind of stuff, it's all about self-expression, but actually it is. It is. And we can't escape that, because art is we express our inner self, core, our emotions through our hands, through our mind, and we create something that we intend to be beautiful and liked by others, but as much by ourselves, so we can say, I did that. And it is amazing, and I've seen your drawings in there, and they are beautiful. Honestly, I love seeing what you've done. That's also wildly different, and that's what I'm loving. It's not like, oh yes, everybody's done exactly the same as each other. Oh, how nice, how lovely. It's not. You are all doing things differently. So, I will talk about pencils, about precious. I know we've had some people say, well, what do I do? And I thought this was a pastel pencil course. Well, pastel and pencil, pastel pencils. So I am working with both pencils and with pastels, because they work so beautifully together, that they really do. And if you take one from the other, it doesn't just give you that range of emotion. Now, I know sometimes we can't always afford a whole set of pan pastels as well as a set of pencils. It starts to push the bank up. So that's why I'm working with both, so you can see both. And you go, that's how I can do it. And you don't need a huge set of pan pastels. I have, about 10, 12 of them. It's about £100 worth all up. I really have not used many at all beyond that. I consistently use the same ones again and again, because I can blend them with the pencils. So I use them as the base layers, just the base. Yes, if I go off and I start doing greenery and landscapes and waterscapes, then I'm going to want those kind of colours as well. But for most animals, you don't need them. You just, the ones we've given to you in the materials list is enough. to go by. They are your core colors. Your core colors are your rainbow, if you think about it. So you've got your brown, which actually isn't a rainbow color, by the way. That's blue and red mixed together. Is it blue and red? Blue and red gives you brown, red. Or that gives you more mauve. Sorry, brown is green, blue, and red. Gives you brown. Crikey. Oh dear. So yes. So the browns. You've got your burnt sienna. That's your brown, or sienna. Sorry. Then you have your yellow ochre. That's your yellow. Then you have your which you can mix with red. That gives you orange. Then you've got your white. White and black, which gives you grey. Then you want a nice blue, cadmium blue or cadmium red, and that's it. And your green, of course. I can't remember what the green is. That's your core colours. You don't need more than that, So it's really quite simple. So let's just have a look. Just see who else on here. Yeah. Okay. Hi Jasper. Hi Carol. Hi Brenda and Peggy. Wonderful to have you here. So I'm going to kind of carry on the story a little bit. So today, just sort of timing wise, we're at 7:15 now, so about 45 minutes, more, maybe 50 at the most. No, this one isn't going to be as long as yesterday. Yesterday had just a lot of setup time, okay, because we need to set up these 5 days. If we don't, then you'll be going, what? I don't know where we are, what we're doing, and what's it all about, and you'll just show me how to draw, and that's it. There's a reason for these stories. It's not just, I'm just telling you a nice yarn. There is a purpose behind them, and those of you who get it will get it. Those who don't yet will get it at some point, because that's the point of storytelling. It's not for this kind of mind, it's for you. So I started drawing, and by the summertime I had been about 3 months in at this point, and I think actually after the first month I started to get so many commissions. I had said, we said, look, we're not doing anything else. COVID's here. We're all kind of stuck inside. Now we're starting to transition outside, getting a lot of work. Why don't I go professional? I kind of was professional at that point. People were paying me. They were paying me. It was starting to become a little bit of a living, and so I said, okay, great. I have no idea why. I don't know why they're buying my stuff, but let's just work from there. And so I just kept drawing and kept doing them. I was working majoritively in black and white, graphite pencils. And then I started to, I think someone said, do you do it in colour? And I'm like, oh God, don't ask for colour, please. I'm just still trying to learn how to do black and white pencils. Don't make it more difficult. Thank you, Marie. I will ask that one. I'll answer that one. So I was working in black and white, so okay, I've got to do colour. So I thought, well, I can't just ask for colour and say, hey, give me your colour commissions. So I needed to go and practice it. So I did a picture of our dog Ripley, who's our old Gordon setter, no longer here sadly, but we have a beautiful picture of him as a puppy. I don't have him here, the picture. It's gone somewhere, I don't know where. So I did that one. And I think I had beginner's luck. I honestly think I had beginner's luck because I drew it. We were at a market somewhere in Richmond in London. My wife, Zania, she sells or made candles. She still does for her business and for sort of the BBC and things. And reed diffusers and all that sort of lovely stuff. And so I drew this there, in front of loads of people just walking by and went, blah, 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 blah. I finished it and went, oh, that's actually really good. I don't know how I did that, but that's actually, blimey, I'm really pleased with that. So I put it out on the internet and tentatively, what do you think? Would anybody like a coloured portrait? Bam! Honestly, people just like, yes, 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 yes. And I go, God, great. Look, we're getting, people are starting to, but they want these coloured portraits. I hadn't got a clue how to do colour. I thought I did. I thought I knew after doing this one portrait that was it. It's like, yeah, it's no problem at all. Easy. Just chuck them at me, darlings. And so we got these orders in for the colour portraits, and the first one I got was I think it was like a beagle, an old boy, something like that. He'd passed away. So it was a memorial portrait, and I'm like, yeah, okay, good drawing. I know what I'm doing, and hey, that's quite good. Anyway, after the second and third coming along, I'm going, they're getting worse. They are honestly getting worse, and when people are going nice, and customers would come along and pick it up, and I'm kind of going, please, please, please pay me like it because I've just spent hours doing it, and so they would buy it, and they would love it, and they would stand at my door crying with tears in their eyes, being once reunited with their pet who passed away, which is utterly moving, to see that. It really is. If you've experienced this yourself, which I'm sure some of you have, if you haven't yet, it's wonderful. And but as time went on, months, and then the next month, I started to really lose a lot of confidence. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt it was way beyond me. There were people that were so much better than me, and I just wasn't liking it. And I felt like I wanted art, but it didn't want me, and I just wasn't good enough. I wasn't that artist. There were other people. They were those artists, not me. And I just lost that confidence, and I didn't like my drawings. I didn't like my work, and yet the customers would come along and they would pay me. They would commission it, and they would go on the internet and just go, "Wow, wow, amazing, wonderful, bloody amazing." I'm like, why? I really don't know. I just didn't like them. I struggled with it. I really struggled with it, and I got imposter syndrome. Never heard of it before. Having coached hundreds of people, thousands of people in the past as doing psychology and stuff, blah 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 blah, on courses and big companies around the world, etc. etc. Boom, hit me. I'm like, what the is this? What is going on? Why do I feel this? Why do I feel rubbish inside? And I really started to hate art. I mean, really, really, really hated art. Hated drawing. Didn't want to do it. I would scream like a baby at my wife. Well, not at her, but I don't want to do it. I've had enough. I hate the world. I hate them. I can't draw. It wasn't that far off, and but I had to. But at that time, we were coming out of COVID. My job had changed to this. People were still wanting commissions. We were coming up to Christmas. And Christmas coming along, I had like 30 portraits to draw, and I'm going, I have to draw these, and it was a nightmare. I was doing 4 a day, chomping through them. But I learnt so much in that time. Learnt so much, and it was at this point that we'd come out from COVID, and I got up to see my mother. She was in a care home up in Oxford, near where my elder brother lives. She used to be down here, but then she moved up there after some big incident. And we went to see her, and she was in this glass, kind of like a glass house that she was in. And I brought my folder with me because I hadn't drawn. Since I was a kid. She'd seen 1 or 2 things that I'd done, a picture of my father and her, and that was it. But that was it. And she hadn't seen anything. So I brought my folder of all the pictures I'd done. I had about 20 or 30 of them in there, some of the black and whites. We were sitting down and said, "Look, Mum, look, this is what I've done. This is what I'm doing." Because when I was a kid, she said, "You should draw. You're good at art. You should do that." I'm going, no, I don't really want to. I enjoy it, but didn't. I wanted to be a rock star, actually. Ended up going to music college and being taught by Michael Jackson's guitarist. After all that, kind of weird. No, it wasn't weird. She was amazing. And so I wanted to be a rock star. Drawing was never in my life, not at all. And so I showed this to my mum, and she just burst into tears, and cried on the spot, and said, "You've done what I always wished you had done, is you've become an artist. And so it was like a big emotional moment, and that was the last time I saw her. So she died 2 weeks later from COVID, and so yeah, big tough moment. And it's like, well, what do I do? What do I do? I don't want to draw, and I think I just felt lost at that point. And then something else just started to change inside of me. But that's for another story. So Rosie, how do we move on? How do we take our art when we think we haven't got it inside? Is something inside you just moves on? And what we're going to do today is we're going to draw Rosie, and we're going to move on to her chest, because now let me switch over to this side of the picture. Let's have a look. Blah blah blah. We shall just switch over. Let me get my camera, and here we go. So this is Rosie. We were doing her head. I've seen your heads, not your heads, but you know what I mean. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to move down and get my camera. We're going to go lower down. We're going to do the body. Now the reason why you think, well, why didn't I just do the body yesterday? Because the body is different, okay? Because we have so much of this white, and it's so fluffy. It's somewhat of a different technique when we're using white. Now I know you've done the collar, so I wanted to give you that opportunity of doing that collar straight away. So what we're going to be doing is, let me just grab my pencils here. So we're going to do half the pencils again and half of the pan pastels. So I want to talk about the pressure of pencils. Let me just make sure I've got them all in my hand. And this one, where's that one? This one here. Okay, so when we're doing our layers, okay, when we're doing fur, you don't want to press down hard unless you're doing unless you want that particular color to be that color, okay? But when we're kind of doing fur, we want to kind of keep it soft, keep it gentle, and just build up the layers. So we're just adding rather than pushing it straight in, because we don't want to destroy this tooth on here. Okay, so if I'm doing so if you think texture, keep soft. If you think smooth surface, go hard. Okay, and then texture or smooth, we then blend with something like the blending stump. That's probably the easiest rule. So when you're first laying down, go kind of medium pressure. It's not hard, unless you're doing a smooth surface like a tabletop, for example. Then you want that down smooth, because you're trying to create that smoothness on it. Whereas if you want something textured, then you want to be less hard. You want to have some of that grain, some of that gravel coming through. So what we're going to do is I'm going to again go from the left hand side, then I'm going to go for the right. Left hand side we're going to do the pan pastels, right hand side we're going to do the pencils. Now the reason why we didn't move straight down here is because we're dealing with white. Okay, hang on, just move my screen. Yeah, so we're dealing with a huge mass of white. Now, I always get asked this question, what do you do with white fur? And this is what we're going to cover. Because the obvious answer is, well, get the white pencil out. Actually, that is the obvious answer, but that's not the answer that we want to use. We want to look at the colors. And where you want to place the white is, if you think about our layers, we said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first layer, which is our base layers, we want to put down our dark layers, our mid-tones, and some of the brights, the whites. But the white, really your white pencil, you leave for right at the end, in layer 5, right at the end, where we're just hitting those little spots where the light is just glinting off it. That's where you want it. That's what's going to make your your picture pop, and that's what's going to make it look like it's realistic. If we do it early on, then that white, it just looks white. It's too contrasty, so we want to come down a notch. So we're looking at creams, okay? We're looking at light grays, all right? They're going to constitute our colors for whites. We're also looking at, if I can find this one here, I think it rolled off my I think it did actually, duh. We're also looking at blues as well. So you're looking at your other light colors. And looking at Rosie, what we've got, if we kind of pull her up here, pull this chest up. So we've got this, it's kind of like a grey here. So actually on my screen, blowing it up this side, I see a little bit of sort of a browny grey, but a grey would do just perfectly here. So we've got this grey, and this over the top, I would use either a really light grey or the 103 pencil, which is our cream. And then, yeah, especially over here, actually, I can see that there's that cream in. Can you see my pencil moving up and down? It's not so easy on the screen, is it? Because I've got a tiny little hand mark here. So let's start at the top, okay? So we're going to start at the top, and we're going to start with a lighter grey. Don't go so one key thing when we're working with light colours is use your lightest colours first, okay? Don't go for your darks and try and build up from dark to light. It doesn't work. Go from light to dark. If ever you've done coloured pencils, do you do that way around, light to dark? Yes, you do, don't you? Yes, if you've done coloured pencils, you generally go light to dark. You put your light colours down, then you start building up with your lights, your darks afterwards. So we do the same when we get light colours. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this one. So this is a pencil 230. So it's a light grey. You can go lighter if you want, but I think this is quite a good sort of early light, you know, without being too white. So I can just literally just flip it along, just follow that kind of fur shape, and just move it along. So all I'm doing is just dragging that pencil, moving it along with those lines, and just making them a little bit longer, you know, keeping your hands, you know, smooth and gentle, you know, moving around. And there we go. So you can see that's all we're doing. We're not doing anything big, nothing amazing. We're not putting lots of, you know, lots of different strokes in here. Just the same. We're just building on what we've done before. So we're just coming down, and now let me just move down on here. Just move that up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for other parts or areas that have got this kind of grey in. So I'm not looking for my white colour. I'm looking for this darker, this sort of that sort of mid-tone grey. Can I show it to you on here? Can you see my mouse? That I'm looking for this colour here. So we started at the top, which is just this little bit here. So I'm looking for the mid to darker colours, and we've got quite a bit of a grey. It's a nice grey blue down on this side, and we've got a lovely sort of pinky colour around her lower part of her chest, and there's a little bit of pink up around here as well, actually. So I'm just going to move this colour, start to move it down, and just come down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this other grey, these other greys in later, but I just want this main shape in here that I'm seeing across around her chest. And it comes, let's have a look, let's just zoom that out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Comes right across her chest here, doesn't it? Actually, right across this centre line, and all the way down, right across down, and then it starts to change colour quite a bit at the end. So if you notice, my pencil is quite flat. I don't need a sharp pencil at this stage. So I'm just going to brush that into the side of the leg. Actually, I think I've just gone a bit too far over this side, didn't I? Because I had my screen over. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my blender. Here's my blender, and just again following the direction of the fur, just do that blend it in all the way down, all the way down. I'm being a little bit naughty here. Normally I wouldn't go back up, but because of time, so because if you just go back up, you just end up getting pushed back, and so you start, actually you see it here, it starts to build, you get a bit of a build of the pencil where it pushes back. So always try and keep going down that same direction. If you push back, what you're doing is you're pushing your pencil back and forth, and you'll get a build up of that pencil in there, which doesn't look that nice actually. So I'll take my pencil again, where have I lost it? Oh, there it is. And I'll look for some of this grey over this side, just underneath that, well, her right leg, our left, isn't it? It's a little bit over the top on that side, and just a little bit we can see just on the side here. So again, look, I'm not fussed about the lines, am I? I'm not going, oh gosh, I've got to get this, you know, perfectly and line there, you know. I'm not interested in that. Just keep it loose, keep it light, keep it easy, blend that in, push that into the paper, and I think that's a little bit, isn't it? We've got a little bit more actually just up here, you know, so look at for some of these contours. There we go, and that's kind of it for the moment. And then if we look at this side of the leg, we've got some just starting on this leg. So follow that, give that nice, see the way that I move my hand. So I'm resting my palm down here, and I'm rocking my pencil back and forth. So I've got a nice rocking motion going in. So I can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and that's just giving me this nice sort of movement. And then I can just speed it up, because that's the kind of the view that we're getting. And just bring this down there, and then over the same side here as well. So I'm just putting my lighter grey down first. I'm not doing anything kind of crazy. I'm not going, you know, too dark early on, because if we do, then it's difficult to recover from that. Okay, and let's just pick up her feet. There we go. Look at those gorgeous little tufties, and just go for this some of these darker colours, curl underneath there, and get that other pencil mark around here, just one in that corner. And we look at the other foot, so just get that curl. So keep your fingers, your pencil movement nice and sort of curly. Always rest your palm where you can when you're doing small movements. It will just make it a lot easier. Get that nice swing going in. Just swing that pencil around a little bit hard around the edges, because we're doing it on the outside. And then as you're bringing your pencil around, you can slowly decrease the pressure as you're coming in on the inside. So it's harder on the outside, bringing it softer and softer and softer, and that'll give you a nice grade on that side. Okay, I know I've done that side. I've been a bit naughty, haven't I? I've done that with pencil. I will come back and do that with pan pastel in a minute. Okay. So let's just blend that again in. So again, getting your pencil, follow through, follow the same movements, the same arcs, and the same with this as well. Keep those same arcs going back in there, and this is what will actually give you the texture. Yeah, just by following this way, because what happens is when you're adding one pencil layer over the top of another, the second one will make that next layer, that second layer darker than the first. Then as I go across it, it will then make that cross bit. Look, if I show you here, right? So if I just put one layer down, okay, that's 3. Then I put a second layer, okay, now it's darker. Now I put a third, now a fourth. With each successive pencil stroke I put on there, it's actually getting more intense, you know, or more of that color. So if I do go across that way, now we've got this little area that is now darker than, so you know, you can create effects by going, you know, across each other, across parts of the fur. And that's kind of what we're doing here as well, is we're creating these effects of making the fur look like it's fur. You know, we're essentially cheating the eyes. That's all we're doing. That's all art is. It's a way to cheat our vision and our eyes. Okay. So before I get on to the other sides, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put our terracotta in here now. Make sure I've got the right one, because I got the wrong one out earlier. I think it was a 151. Let me just double check. No, that's a pink. Actually, it's not quite a nice pink. I quite like that. 180. Yeah, I think it was a 188. So there we go. So I can just put our terracotta or our foxglove colour in here and blend that in, and then just come down the side. Yeah, and notice where I put that white in a little bit by accident. It's quite nice actually, because when I put it over, it lightens up my terracotta, which is great. You know, let's just move Rosie down a bit. So yeah, there we go. That's the back leg, isn't it? So we've got the back leg down here. So let's just put some of that back leg in there. So it's going to come down to about here. Put some of that back leg in. And then that looks like her little tufty tail, just flicking out the back. So put that in, all the way down, blend that back around, and in there. That's all we're doing. Nice and simple. Get our blending tool stump, push that in. Again, I'm not after it looking great. I'm just literally getting some of these colours in. Now we'll get our brown, which we used yesterday, which is 176. Oh, crikey. Oh my cat. Oh, bloody hell. What's happened there? Oh, sorry. How's that? I think my camera must have got hot. Yeah, I'm checking the battery. The battery's okay. Only see colour lines. Lost you. Yeah, thank you. The camera is too hot, came up. Now see colour bars. Okay, excuse me, I might just have to go and get a fan, just because our weather's so hot. Well, it's hot for England and clearly too hot for my camera. I'm just going to grab a fan and see if I can blow it onto the camera and just try and cool it down. It is. My room is a furnace in here. Alright, after that, we put that underneath there. And just pop that on here. And just try and get some of that fan going. No, don't twist. Twisting. No. Alright, okay. A little bit of cool air coming over this way. Alright. Pouring rain up here. Okay. Right, so we've got some cool air coming onto my camera. That was a bit weird, wasn't it? Let me just get that. Go up and down. Thanks. Yeah, stop. No, stop. Twist. Stop. Yeah. Okay, that should cool it down. Wow. Okay. Right, everything's back, yeah? Okay, cool. So get my pencils, we'll get back to here. So hopefully this camera shouldn't shut down with this cool air in here. Okay, so yeah, looking on there, we've got a big. So I'm just going to blend this back in there, push it in. Again, I'm not worried about getting these perfect, colours out to the side. So let's get our brown that we were talking about before everything closed down. We need air conditioning. I think we did actually, don't we? I had no idea it was going to actually stop that. So 176. So now I'm just going to go back inside, add that little bit of brown in there. That's just going to give me this nice shadow that we're seeing, and a little bit of shadow of where this back of the leg is, and then you just blend that. Now I'm going to blend this, push this back into. So I don't want that to go into the white. I don't and then just a little bit of these little bits up here, and okay. So can you hear me all right? I think that could be the fans. Let me just turn this down a bit. I think my microphone's picking up this fan quite a bit. How's that? Is that a little bit better? No sound. Audio is choppy. No audio is juddery. Okay. Okay. So we'll just keep going. Fan is disrupting the audio. Alright, okay. So I'll maybe just have to turn it on and off. So let's just turn it off for the moment. How's that? Is that a bit better? Okay. Alright, okay. Wow, it's all happening, isn't it? It's still choppy. Yeah. I mean, we have a really okay. So I can hear you, but breaking up and muted a little. Okay. Well, I just turned my volume down. Let me just turn that up a bit more. Okay. And what about now? How's that? Better? Okay. It's obviously the fan better than no picture. It's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, isn't it? Technology. I tell you, in a hot weather, it all goes to pot. All right, so let's just keep doing this. So what I want to do next is, let me come back, is I want to get this side. So now if you notice what we've got, see, I think looking at this, we've got a nice little bit of pink in there. So I can use my terracotta color. Actually, that wasn't the terracotta. It was 188, 189, 188. And I can use this really gently. So the same color I've got on this side, and I can just follow just some of these shadows. Yeah, I'm just going to do it very gently. So where we're seeing some of these darker colors, I'm just going to put this over the top. Okay, so we're just going to follow this side here. And so we're not, what I'm trying not to get, I'm trying to still leave some of this white through it. So the sort of pattern that I'm doing, if I can get a piece of paper, there we go. The pattern that I'm doing is this, and this is how you want to use your pattern, is kind of this. Yeah, so you're leaving some white in there, okay? And that's the pattern. That's something that I noticed when I was modeling all of these people, is that I spent months and months, and I would see people drawing all their fur. You go, wow, it's amazing, and they would do these lines over it and drawing all the fur. And what I realized is that what they were doing is, and as much as they were saying, oh, actually what I'm doing is I'm drawing the fur, and here we go, and draw that line, and there's another line, draw the fur. And after a while I went, they're actually, what they're doing is not what they're talking, or rather what they're talking about, what they're saying is not actually what they're doing, or rather what's happening, the phenomena of what they're doing. And that was the interesting bit. I went, got it. See, this is what they were doing. And let me grab my spare piece of, what they were doing was this. So I noticed that when I was doing my black and white portraits, when I put down a base layer of just grey, and I then put in a darker pencil on top, which is what I showed it a little bit earlier on, that it started to give an effect. I went, well, that's interesting. It seems to look more like fur. And why does it? I had no idea. For months, I just knew it worked. I had no idea why it was working. And so after what seemed to be years, I realized that if you put down a base layer first, now these artists knew this. Most artists just think, well, you're putting down a base layer because it's just the base colors. It's actually a lot more than that. If I start to put down this base layer, which is what I'm doing here, okay. Now I'm just going to blend that in, because I need to do it because it's actually the paper. So you just need it blended in so it works with the paper. Yeah, so if I blend that in, can you see that all right? Now, watch what happens when I start to do this and I start to use this pattern, all right? Using the same color pencil, and I use that same pattern, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, like this. It starts to look like fur. Now, if I do it just this way, it becomes not, it is, because we actually have a darker color on there, but there's too much contrast between the two colors. There's too much contrast. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Well, it doesn't make sense to our eyes. We just go, well, no, that's just orange lines on a brown background. But if we put a similar tone to the background, give that a bit of a smooth. Now I can smoothen that back. Now I can even smoothen that way back, right? Now we're starting to get a pattern. Now I can add a little bit more and go across some of these lines. And now what I'm doing is adding depth, all right? Because your eyes are seeing some of these lighter colors through the back. So that's the pattern you need, yeah? So it's 1, 2, slightly lower, 3. Again, 1, slightly lower, 3. Find the holes, find the gap. Not mind the gap this time, find the gap. And when we're doing it a tight pattern, we're just bringing it all a lot closer. Yeah, practice it slowly, and you will soon start to get this pattern. Yeah, and it's quite random, and that's how our eyes want it. Okay, and that's what people were doing. That was the pattern, but they didn't know this. All they were doing was just like, well, I'm just drawing the lines, and yes, some of the lines are kind of straight, but when you start varying them in that kind of way, and then sort of move some of the angles, now you start to create fur. All right. Now, you think that's kind of cool, wait till you see what comes next. So, then after what seemed like 500 years, I went, oh, now what happens then if I add some of the highlights in over the top? So now use a lighter color of that same shade, just go for some of these over the top of some of the strokes that we've already done. And this is where the sun or a light would hit it. So now we're starting to get the light coming in. Now, do you see how it's starting to get dimension already? And then what seemed like another 25 years until I realized the next part went, oh, well, what happens if you add the shadow in? Now if you go in between, like in between these, I can now add, there's probably a little bit too dark for what I would want. I don't have a dark one. Yeah, no, I don't. No, that's fine. It's because I can actually blend this in. So now I can just go into some of these corners and just add a little bit of the shadow. Yeah, a little bit of the darkness, because this is where everything happens. Now you might think, oh yeah, but Rob, what you're doing is you're drawing fur. I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm drawing shape and form where the fur will emerge. Okay, so then I can come back over with my lighter one and just come back over again using that same kind of weird pattern, and now it's starting to get, and then get some lighter, a lighter again. Now I get even just touch that. I'm not drawing fur, the fur is emerging, okay, just from these random patterns. Now we're creating fur. Now we're creating texture just by using 1, 2, 3 colors really, because that base color was the same as the first layer. We've got our lighter layer, we've got our mid-tone, and we've got our dark tone, and that's it. That's how you create fur. That's how you create texture. You're not trying to draw it. You're letting the shape come out. Now I'm starting to see the shape. So I can go, ah, okay. So now I'm starting to see, actually there's a little bit of this shape here. So I can extend on that and start to pull some of these shadows into it and start to create some of this fur. Blend it out with my fingers, and you can keep going and keep going and keep going. And then to be honest with you, there's probably a little bit too dark there, so I probably want to lighten that up a little bit more, lighten that sort of shadow up, and that's how we do it. Does that make sense? So what we're doing over here is the same thing. So we're taking our terracotta and we're just going over, sorry, wrong one, just going over in that same stroke pattern, just looking for the shade, looking for the shadow, just looking for the shadow. I'm not drawing fur, I'm drawing shadow. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Now we can blend that in because that's gentle. Now I can come in with my darker color. Sorry, I'll get the actual what's it called? Faber-Castell one, which is a 233. Now I can come in with this one and start to draw some of this shadow. So that's all we're doing, we're just drawing the shadow. I'm not drawing any of the fur. I don't care about the fur. I'm looking for where the shadow is. And there's a little bit down here, it kind of comes at this angle. There's a little bit down here, it comes at this angle. And I know there's a little bit more down here. And then it starts to turn around this side. A little bit more down here. And again, just in these areas, again, do this kind of funny movement back and forth. And just draw the shadow. Put the shadow in there. That's all we're doing. And the same with the top, just a little bit darker now. Getting some of this shadow in. A little bit more. And then we can go even darker. We can choose a darker grey. I've just got to make sure, there we go. So I can get one here. That is it's 233, what's that one? That's the same one. That's the same one, duh. Where are we? And a 273. So we can just grab some of these little darker areas again. Actually, not as dark as I would have liked, so I'll choose another one. One of my favourite ones actually is a 175. It's kind of a black grey. It's really good for getting just some of these sort of darker greys in there without it being too dark. And I can just blend that in, just touch that in, just in these little sweet areas, and just push that in, and then I can get my blender back out and push that back into it and just soften it up so it's not too strong, and we can start to create some of these darker areas. And that's all we're trying to do. And then this is where it all starts to come together. So we're not using, remember what I said earlier, we're not using white, okay? We don't want to use white, we want to use the cream colour, the 103. So let me get mine, which is here. So now we start adding these light layers in that we said earlier that we were doing with that same pattern. We're just dragging it across, putting in some of these light layers, that's all. And we're just putting in some of these lighter layers, and some of these lighter layers, and some of the ones at the top. So now we're starting to build up our layers, but we're not building them up to try and make layers. We're trying to build them up to add, to turn it into fur. You see, layers works for only two things. You're either trying to create depth, which is what we're doing by having contrast between your dark to your light. So we're trying to create layer to create contrast, or we're trying to blend. But what we're doing, oh, we've lost the camera again. Okay, yeah, I've seen that. Oh dear. Okay, just bear with me a second. I think it's just so hot in here, isn't it? I might have to if I open my window up and let some air in here. down. Yeah. So just let that cool down for a sec. Oh wow, that really is hot. So it was add quite a bit more on there. Okay, let's just get that cooler. So we've got you. So we're getting what, about 10-15 minutes on here. Okay. Alright. So it's still off the moment, but I'm just trying to get it a little bit cooler. Yeah. Oops. You can probably hear that fan. Let me bring the microphone more across this way, and then maybe you can, and I'll try and get closer to the microphone so we're not getting. Can you hear me better that way than the fan? Does that work? Right, let me just turn this on, back on. Okay, so we're back on, yeah? You should be able to see that now. So, okay, cool. So that's what we're doing, is we're now getting this pencil, our lighter one, and we're just trying to follow the direction and the shape of the fur. We're just adding it to what it is that we're seeing here. Just creating, looking for these lighter spots, these lighter patches on the fur. We're not looking to draw the fur. I'm not interested in trying to draw it. Okay, then we get our blender and just blend that back in, because it's all about blending it back in. Okay, and it might just look a little bit patchy, but that's fine. And just blend that back in. Okay, sorry, let me get my microphone a lot closer this way so you can hear me. Are we still doing layer one? Yes, we are absolutely. So this is still all the base layer, and that's what we're wanting to do at this stage. So now if I move across to the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pan pastel now. So that's how we're doing it with the pencil. Actually, what I will do is I will just finish off this foot on this side. So a similar thing. We now get our grey, our light grey, and I'm going to come down on this side. Now I'm seeing a little bit of blue in there, so we can do what is called glazing, and I kind of showed you what I was doing that was a second ago with the with that terracotta. I'm just going to blend that in with my finger. So I can grab the blue pencil, which is a 140, and I'll just do that really lightly, keeping that a nice blunt end to it. Blues and greys, they work well together. You know, you can always mix them. That, you know, and again over here, there's just that little touch of blue. It's almost like a bluey green, just on the edge, and a tiny little bit on the edge here. And then I can blend that in again, which will just soften up that blue. It just won't make it quite so stark. It's just enough for someone's eyes to go, oh, is that another colour? Am I seeing another colour there? And again, follow the shape of this foot, bring it round all the way up to the top, and again just blending it in all the way around, again following that arc. That's all we're trying to do, is follow the shape of this foot. And then I can blend this across, and so all we're trying to do at this stage is just get the colour, get that sort of light and shade and dark in. Okay, I'm going to do the same with this toe and just push that in. Now this way I'm pushing a little bit harder because there's not really much happening there, is there? And again, the same with up here, same with up here, and a little bit there. And it's got his little paws, a little bit of pink, that's nice terracotta, put it in, and just around that side. A little bit of brown, same brown we were using earlier. Don't know, that's a grey I've got. Same brown. I could have got a grey actually, that would have worked quite nicely. Just get some of that shadow in. A little bit touch underneath here. A little bit of a touch. Tiny little bit at the top. A little bit around the side. Blend that in. It's not about it being perfect. We don't want that. A little bit of this brown I can see is just on the corner of his leg. dab that in there. Okay, does that make sense? 2 fans, windows fully open, still the camera melts. Sorry folks, yeah I know, it's crazy isn't it? So we'll find a way of being able to cool the room down tomorrow a lot better than what, we had no idea this was going to happen. So on the other side, now what we can do is we can grab our pan pastels. The great thing about pan pastels is it just works so quick. Oh, there it is. It's just so much quicker. So grab this again, our soft tool, and take our paper, and we're going to mix. So we're going to start with our white because that's our lightest colour. And start with the white, put it on here. Just put that nice big chunk of amount on there. And I'm just going to see, I'm going to actually mix it, and I'm going to follow that same direction, the same direction of fur that we're seeing. There's a nice kind of creaminess that fur has, and that is the great thing about the pan pastels. It just covers such a bigger area in like a second. Yeah, and I can even just blend that in on the other side. So just grab a little bit more. I'm just mixing that with some of that yellow. Move this picture down so I can see what we've got up here. I'm going to go to the top of the neck, and we're going to come out, in, out, and pull this right across the top, nice and gently. Now let's grab this terracotta. So I'm going to be a little bit naughty and mix that with my colour here that I actually will want to use white in a minute with. But you didn't see this, okay? So now we've got a nice pink, just mix that with that white, got that lovely pink. So you're just going to drop that in on the side and mix that together. And we're going to go just down the bottom, some of that pink in again, mix that across, and we've got that in. And now what I can use, see, it's such a lovely pink, I can even use that right across on this side. It's really quite sweet. I like that colour. So that's how you're starting to move away from white. So there's a little bit of this pink over here, and it's more of a blue grey, but I'm going to use a grey on this side. So I'm going to grab my grey, just mix over there. It's way too grey. Put some of that white back on again, and let's just get this really just get a load more white. Actually, it's so grey. There we go. And now I can start to get some of this grey coming in, and add a little bit more grey in there. So just see what I'm doing now is I'm getting the shadows in. Okay, I'm just getting the shadows in, get some of that darker grey coming in just underneath and just down here, and some of that darker grey just coming in. Let's move my picture up so I can see it. Now I'm right underneath, right down here. I'm just going to go right for a good dark grey, and as I pull that up, notice what it does is it softens it as I go up. Okay, so even if you don't have pan pastels, you can still get one of these tools and also use this with your pan pastels, sorry, with your pastel pencils. It will create the same effect, it will do the same thing. And that's the great thing with these, is it just gives you that nice option to be able to create these really nice soft gentle effects. And so I can just blend those colours in, blend them in, get some of that grey coming across and some of that grey onto that side of that foot, and then add some more of that white, that nice sort of whitey pink that we're seeing right up high up here. So get some nice white in, and it's probably a little bit too white there, but don't worry, we can always come back to that. And again, just follow the curvature that we're seeing, and you can be a little bit kind of wild with this, you know, just allow yourself to kind of follow some of these moves, because we're just putting in this undercoat, this under layer, and so we just wanted to get some of these highlights in, and we're going to come back the next day or so with our pencils, and that's when we're going to start to add some of these lovely lush layers on top. So add some of that white just a little bit down on that side here. I've still got my camera, don't I? It's still coming up over the side, blending it across all the way down, and just trying to hook some of that in, and just a dab on the corner, get just that little hint of brightness there. And I notice there's a little bit of touch of bright just on the edge of her shoes, and just a little bit more over this side. And that's how we're starting to do it. Okay, does that make sense? So I noticed that this side, yeah, probably needs to come in a bit. I probably need to add some more, yeah, more of that terracotta, I think, down on that side. Cool. So that's where we're at with Rosie. So that's how we start to get our colours in. So you start to build up. You can add a little bit more of this orange here, a little bit more of this sort of cream colour. Start to build it up, you know, until you go, you know, we're almost there. Now we haven't finished yet. That's going to come on the next time when we're going to come back. We're going to start to going through to layer 3, and that's going to be. So tomorrow we're going to be doing the features, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. We'll be getting them in, then we'll start to actually put some of these colours in with the layers. Okay, I'll turn the fan off now, because I think we've had enough of that, haven't we? Okay, 2 fans, yes, there we go. So, let me just throw myself back into the picture. So we're coming up to the end. Time for a quick sort of Q&A. Let me sort of push myself back over here. So, there we go. Looks darker than the actual picture. What does? Oh, mine. It's my screen. Screens will always look darker, okay, or lighter. It depends upon the screen that you've got and the way that that works, okay. So I'm not, yeah, I can see what you mean actually. It's because I have a camera, so I've got a lot of light thrown on here with this. So as you can see, as I move this, it gets lighter and darker, yeah, because I've got shadows happening. So what my eyes are seeing is not really what the camera is seeing, okay, because my light is different the way my eyes are. I've got an orange light on my right, I've got a blue light behind me, so my lighting in my room is affecting all of this, and how I'm seeing this on here is also affecting it. I don't need it to look like the picture, it's not meant to. I need it to look like how I want to get the base layers done as I start to build my colors up. So you may well go, well, I want to add more light. If you're working in daylight, yours will probably be a lot brighter and lighter than what mine is, because I'm in quite a dark room. Although I've got quite a big bright light on here, I'm casting quite a lot of shadow here. So the camera is picking up a lot more darkness here, but my eyes are adjusting to that. Does that make sense? So your lighting environment makes a huge difference to the way that your colors will come out. If I draw in the morning and then draw in the evening, I will find that the tones I'll be using in the evening will be a lot warmer than what they were in the morning. So you either try and compensate for that, or you say, well, I will only draw in the morning, therefore you keep your colors consistent. I actually don't mind that kind of conflict, because I find it creates somewhat more of a balanced picture for different lighting conditions. Do you blend? Can you show the entire picture, please? Yes, I can. Let me move my camera over here, over there. And also what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep my contrast between, you know, the colors that I've got over the top to be similar to the ones I've got over here. So I will probably carry on and brighten this up a bit. But what I'm interested in doing is showing you the techniques, not showing you my finished bit of where I'm at. You want to go in as far as you go. So I've shown you the techniques. Now you go to what you need to do and how it's going to work for your situation. Do you blend each layer completely before moving on? Yes. I will blend the pastel pencil in to once I've laid it in and put the pencil or the pan pastel in. I will blend that in, and try and get the softness that I want. So again, determine how soft you want it to be. If I don't want it to be soft, I won't blend it in so much. But yeah, I will blend it. I want to push it into the pastel paper. That's more important necessarily than blending, unless I'm trying to mix colors together and blending colors across. Also, do you do pastels flat or on an easel? This is on an easel. So yeah, I found that this isn't actually the normal angle I will do it at. I will do it, so if I can show you so this is the angle that it's at on here. I will normally do it at that angle, so I'm getting it's closer to where my eyes are at. The problem with doing it at this angle and then doing it flat, if you can see my hand, is as I move my hand away, the distance between my eye to the end of a portrait and its feet changes. So its perspective now changes. You know when you're driving on a road and you see the signs that says slow, they're elongated. They're elongated so it looks, well, if you actually stand on it, they're really long. They're like 40 feet, 10 meters long. But when you're driving, it looks like it's actually in perspective of a normal word. But when you get closer and closer, it gets elongated. So this is what happens with this with an easel as well. If you draw flat, your portrait perspective has changed. So your proportions of the top of the picture will look different in your mind to what they will be in your feet. So if you're trying to draw and get accuracy, you may well go out of proportion by drawing things here, because from this angle it will look right, but when you actually get over it, it will how will it be? It will be from this angle. From this angle, it will look right, but when you stand over it, it will actually be elongated. Does that make sense? So it works in the same way. Okay. Cool, good. Excellent. So great. Well, thank you so much for being here. I think we were pretty good for time. Sorry about the heat. Had no idea that was going to happen. That's crazy. Camera's still going. Poor thing. I hope it doesn't blow up. It's cost a fortune, that thing. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same link, same place. Sorry, different link. Go back to your Rosie folder in your member area. Look for day 3. Click that again. Come back again. The reason why I don't send a link out is because that link is then perpetual. Right? Because not everybody has the VIP. If you have that link forever, and so, that's why we don't do that. And it's also safer to have it in your members area, because not everybody also uses the link and comes straight to here. So great, yeah. If you like this, please put your thumbs up. If you don't like it, please don't put thumbs down. Actually, it doesn't really matter that much, to be honest with you, because it's not a live thing. It's not out to the public, but it just lets us know. Go and post your Rosie. Do this. Post it back into forum. We love seeing them. Everyone else loves seeing it in there. And thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow evening, where we will be going and doing the features to starting to get bring some of these this crazy fur together. All right. Till then, have yourself a great evening.